Okay, so this part of the course is not for everyone, but it's specifically designed for those who have an issue of there being another guy that she's with. I am including it right here because flirting and texting to each other can happen despite there being another guy that she's with. But our next stage is you and her meeting, and there could be a lot of issues that pertain towards, oh, I don't know, I'm with a boyfriend and I'm meeting my ex, what if he finds out? That kind of thing. So I'm going to give you another video that used to be a paid video, but you get it absolutely free, like a surprise addition to the course that you bought. It's about the situation, of another guy being there, what to do with her current boyfriend, how to make sure that he doesn't get in your way, how to make sure that the meeting between you and her happens anyway, right? So we're going to talk about that. I hope this material is very useful to you. Actually, it will be very useful. Watch it. If there is no other guy and you're sure of it, just skip to the next part of the course. Okay, and if there is another guy, watch carefully and you will discover what to do exactly. How to get her back if she's with another man. Now, obviously, it is harder to get her back if she's not just living on her own and tries to have another fate, another life without you, but if she's with somebody else. If it's harder, doesn't mean it's impossible. For example, if somebody had a trauma and they have a problem with their body, doesn't mean that they cannot be physically fit. It's just a little bit harder. And in this course, we're going to talk about how to remove that obstacle. And we're going to work around it. And initially, when I just started working with such situations, I had this illusion, this idea that, well, if she's with another man, you cannot do anything because she found another love. That was my stupid idea 10 years ago. Now, after working with people all around the world in this area, I realized that every person's feelings, in this case, a woman's feelings, but we're talking about a woman's feelings in this particular case, are very volatile. And people get disappointed in each other. That one day they feel that they have fallen in love and they found the love of their life. The next day they are disappointed. For example, at a certain point, you were the love of her life. And now this guy is, right? So thinking, oh my God, it's over. And she will be with him forever. And she forgot me. Well, didn't she tell you that you're the guy that she will be forever with? So her feelings change. And they change because of what happens to her and what influences her. Now, we can go two ways. You can just allow her to randomly do certain things and maybe she will come back to you, maybe not, maybe she will stay with this guy, maybe not. Or you can proactively create a situation in which she will start missing you, start secretly texting you. He will be something that is close and uninteresting, and you will be something that she is nostalgic for and finds you interesting. So if you bought this course, I assume that this is the choice you would like to make. This course, in many ways, is based on our main course, which you also have access to, but it adds certain very important features that have to do with specifically problems that arise when she is with another man. So what are the obstacles that we need to overcome? One, she may be not willing to communicate with you. Two reasons. One, she promised him that she will not communicate with you, and she feels like cheating if she communicates with her ex-boyfriend or ex-husband. Two, she's afraid that she will come back to you. She may not admit it, but that could be the reason. And three, he forbade her. So he made it so she cannot do it. The third situation depends on the cultural context. is more often in some cultures, more rare in other cultures. But it happens as well, and we need to talk about it. It's just the reality of life as it is right now. We can think it's a bad thing, we can think it's a good thing, it doesn't matter. It is happening, and we need to deal with that because this is a practical course about a practical solution. So, and another obstacle, which you may not see and may not even think is important, is you. Because the problem is that you thinking, oh my God, she's another guy, I have no chances, creates a certain way you communicate with her and create a certain demotivation, which is also an obstacle. So let me first take that obstacle out of the way. And please listen to this. Don't think it's something like irrelevant. It's very important that we get out of your own way, that you don't become an obstacle on your own path of getting back together with her. Number one, feelings of people change. If she once said, I love you, and now she says, I love you to him, this can change again. Number two, feelings of people change because of what happens to them. Not only happens to them in real life, like somebody touched them or somebody spoke to them, but what text they read, what sounds they hear, for example, if you send her a voicemail, all of those things influence the situation. People are easy to influence, easy to persuade if you know what you're doing. So you can change her mind. You absolutely can change her mind. 3, you have help in getting her back. You have my help. He doesn't have that help. As far as I know, there is no course out there that says, her ex is trying to get her back with the help of a psychologist. What kind of defenses I have? That topic doesn't even exist. So he's unaware of what we're doing. So you're in better position. And most important thing, don't believe what she says. Not that she's lying to you, no. People don't understand, and in this case, women don't understand, but men don't understand it either. The difference between a very strong feeling and feeling that lasts forever. Let me explain. When people feel a very strong feeling of love, they say, I love you and I will love you forever, because the stronger the feeling, the stronger is the illusion that this feeling will last forever. Now she maybe has a feeling of disappointment in you. This could be painful, but it is reality. She may have a feeling of even disgust towards you, or she feels coldness towards you, and she feels it strongly, says, I will never love you, I'm with this man and I have strong love with him, this is forever. Forget the forever part. Feelings change, people change. Don't listen to what she says. Most people don't know anything about their feelings, about their emotions. She is not an exception. So what we should look at is how often does she contact with you, and how that topic of contact changes. And that's what we're going to do. So this is important. Assume that it is possible. Just like a very good salesman, a professional salesman knows that they can make a sale to practically every prospect. In this particular case, you're working with a top-level, world-class specialist that is helping you, and you will find a way, with my help, to get her back, even if she's with another boyfriend or even a husband. It doesn't matter. It's just one of the obstacles that we need to deal with. Just like you're building a house, there might be some obstacles. Oh, it's on a moist ground, or there's a river nearby, or it's on a hill. It's just obstacles, and you still build the house. The same thing here. It's just an obstacle. Okay, so one thing that if she ignores you completely, doesn't want to have messages from you, there's a technique that I also teach in the main course, but just in case, I'm going to review it with you. It's the technique of psychological Aikido. If you right now write to her, she might see it as an attempt to restore your relationship with her, an open attempt. And if she sees that, she says, no, I made a decision. So she's stubborn in her head. She made a decision. She doesn't want you to intrude. And in order to continue communication, you should show her that it's absolutely safe to communicate with you and that you're not trying to get her back. Now, in reality, of course, you are trying to get her back. But she must know that, and she should be so convinced about that, that when her boyfriend or husband asks her, "Are you talking to him again?" "Yeah, but like he is now just a friend. I don't care about him. He doesn't care about me. He just said hi." That should be the result initially. Because you realize if you want to do something like this, you need steps. You cannot do it immediately, in one go, in 1 hour. Ideally, you would say, "Oh my God, I love you so much. You're the love of my life. Please come back to me." And she would come back to you. Doesn't work this way. Even rational approach doesn't work. Let's say you have children together. You say, "Well, our parents were so very happy about us. We had a family, we have children. How could you do this?" It doesn't work. What does work? What does work is step by step. She should not see the steps. We should know the steps. That's why those steps take weeks, not minutes. So she doesn't see what's happening and how the situation changes slowly. If the situation changes slowly, people don't see how it changes. If I draw a cartoon of a walking, you know how they draw a stick figure, like a stick man walking, and they draw the first one, then the next one on the next sheet made a move, then the next one made a move. And when you look at this fast, you can see how the stick figure is moving. But if you give a person one sheet of that notepad a day, they will not see the movement. This is what we're trying to do. So at first you want to just her to relax about the communication. And this is why, if you're not ignored, but just not appreciated, and you write to her messenger, whatever that is, let's say it's WhatsApp, just SMS service, it doesn't matter what is the current messenger that you use. And you write to her like, "I realized something. I realized that I still care about you. So for me, it is important that you are happy. And I respect your choice to be with somebody else. But what the worst thing that could happen to me is if we stay enemies. So I'd like for us at least to be good acquaintances. It will be easier for me to start my own life if instead of people who ignore each other, we will be in good contact and I will be able to just say, 'Hi, how are you?' and you will answer fine. So please, can we still communicate? And I promise not to harass you. I promise not to beg for you to come back. I respect your choice to have a happy life with another man." Now I know it's hard to write this because I think, "Oh my God, I'm losing my last chance." Here is how a text message that would lose your last chance be. "Okay, you decided to be with another man. Fine, I don't care anymore. I will find somebody else. Bye." That is losing your own last chance. We're not doing this. What we're doing is we're writing to her that you still love her, you still care for her. Of course, you would be happy if she'd return, but you respect her choice. Now, if the only thing that she is to you is, she's being cold, let's say just, "I'm with another person, leave me," chances are, okay, I'm happy that you finally understand. Not sure if I want to communicate, but fine. At least she won't ban you. And after that, she will read the messages that you send, if you don't send them too often, and they will not be initially obviously flirty messages. They will be, but we're going to do it gradually, step by step, so she won't notice how it's happening. And so that's what's important if you have no contact. If you have no contact and she banned you, you just find a different SIM card and you create a new account. You find her phone number on that platform or her nickname, and you write the same message. And she will, in 99.99999% of cases, say yes, and she will communicate with you. So this is very easy, actually. Now, please be aware that what I told you to write
is general instruction. You should change this text a little bit so it looks like you wrote it. It should not look like you copy-pasted my text, but structurally it should be the same as what I said. So the first thing, I respect your choice. The first thing, I still love you, but I agree with your choice because I respect your choice and I want you to be happy, but I don't want us to be enemies. Please, let's just be good acquaintances, good friends. This will relax her to just start communicating with her. So step 1, just make her communicate with you. Step 2, do it but rarely. Once every 2 days, say, hi, how are you? Like, how's health? You have common children, you have also a lot of things to discuss. And then every week, make it more intense. Next week, write every day. Next week, morning and evening. And then you will start adding things. Now, we have other courses about creating that flirty situation out of neutral situation. So I'm not going to retell you what you can hear in the main course and other courses that you probably have access to. So I just don't want you to hear the same thing over and over again. So this is how you go against that second obstacle, the obstacle of her trying to be that faithful to the guy so she doesn't even communicate with him. So let's go the next obstacle. If she says, I don't want to communicate with you because, he said no, he forbids me or something like that. This is a harder situation, but it's still possible to do something. Here we can provoke her a little bit. Sorry, he forbids me. And you can say, oh, that's so sad. I would never forbid you to communicate with whoever you want and be whoever you are. Just say that. And if we sometimes communicate, if we sometimes write to each other, I will never tell him. It's fine if you want to write to me. And I'm always there to help you. What you're doing there is giving a contrast. Women, even in parts of the world where men lead very powerfully and where women expect men to lead, secretly want to be led, but also given a lot of options. And if the guy is authoritarian and says, no, she will say, okay, I will say yes to him because I love him, because she still has the sexual passion to him and it's a new feeling, but it feels uncomfortable. And she would rather have freedom of association and freedom of communication than just obey him like a soldier. And if you're giving him a choice, see, I am better. But you're not saying, see, I'm better in direct text. You can show it to him. Well, and then, after all this communication, after those 2 messages, that first message and that second message, chances of her banning you are very low. Chances of her responding are not very high, but you can keep writing and she will keep reading because now it's an interesting communication. And what to write you can find out in our other courses about flirting. There is a course about creating stronger feelings in her where we go into that detail. Let's talk about a more extreme situation that sometimes happens. Even like it doesn't happen often and it's a hard situation to deal with, but it's possible to deal with. And I want to talk about it as well. So it's very important. What if he contacts you and says, hey, you, like whatever, like a lot of bad words after that. Don't talk to her. You're nobody to her. I'm her man now. Now, this is not a good sign. That means that she shows him all the communications you have, or he's a psychopathic bastard who just reads her phone without her permission. So this is a harder situation. And if I wouldn't have experience of helping people in this situation, I would say, there is nothing you can do, but you actually can do a lot. The more he becomes this aggressive, jealous, guy, if he is so aggressive towards you, trust me, this aggression she seizes too. So you can even provoke him further. You can say, you don't own her. And if she wants to communicate with me, that's her choice. And your threats are laughable. So you start getting him even more angry. What's the worst thing that can happen? The worst thing that can happen is actual physical confrontation. Now here, I cannot advise you anything. In some countries, that physical confrontation can be very serious. And there, I advise you to save your life rather than to save your relationship. But if maximum thing is that he threatens to come to you, scream in your face, and beat you a few times, like on the mouth, you do realize that if he does that, he will look like a monster to her, and you will look like a victim, and you will win. That's how women think. So that's the worst thing that can happen, if that's the worst thing that can happen, because cultures are different. If in place where you live, there's actual chance of crime, of him coming try to kill you or beat you to the point that you need to go to the hospital or something like that, don't do it. Okay, don't do what I'm advising you right now, and consider the whole situation, because it's a very serious risk. If you're in a country where maximum thing you can just show up at your door and say, and hit you a few times, please remember that the strongest guy in this situation is not the strength that she wants to see. She doesn't want the psychopath who beat up her ex-boyfriend because she said a few words on him on WhatsApp or whatever messenger you use, Viber. I mean, look, we live now in the world where the victim looks better than the aggressor. So sometimes showing him, and after that you can even write to her, your new boyfriend came to me and hit me a few times. I didn't hit him back because I don't find this approach civilized. I'm very worried about you because I hope that he never beats you because I'm really concerned. Right? So you can use the situation, because if he's like that, he's that aggressive, very soon that aggression will go towards her, and she will feel really bad in that situation. And that's when you can contrast. You can become the friend who listens and understands, and of course doesn't want her back because that's her choice. And you can become this amazing prince, charming, who helps her. Psychologists, they and me as well, they give a vow. There is a rule that you cannot have intimate and sexual relationships with your clients, and I actually never broke that rule. Why? It's simple, because as somebody who listens, somebody who understands a woman who is in deep pain, and is somebody who will actually understand you and accept you, becomes very attractive. So it's very seductive for a psychologist or counseling psychotherapist or counselor to say, hey, yeah, I'm here, baby. Because the person is open and vulnerable. But you're not a psychologist, right? And you don't have such vows as I do. So you can use the situation. So if he becomes the aggressor, if he becomes the monster, and they have conflicts and they have scandals, you can become the person who listens and understands for a moment. And when things go even more sour in their relationship, she will start looking at you as an alternative. So this is how you deal with the obstacle of him forbidding the situations, him saying no. Right? That's how you deal with that. So now we talked about, obstacles, all main ones. Your own insecurity. So get that out of the way. Stop believing forever and all that stuff that never lasts. Him being an obstacle, her not communicating with you because she's committed to that relationship, and their initial ecstasy. Like, oh my God, I'm in so much love. Now remember, if people are in that euphoric situation, oh my God, so much love, so much sex, this is the best thing that happened to me, that's exaggeration, because it's initial euphoria. And then when people find out more about each other. They start falling a little bit apart because they realize, oh my God, there is actually beneath all that initial euphoria, there's a real person with real issues, real problems. So time is on your side. If they are in a new relationship, this relationship, even if they pretend it's getting better, you know how people on social networks pretend, everything is good. In reality, of course, things will start falling apart. And that's always the case with new relationship. First, massive euphoria. People are in love with each other. Then there is a peak of disappointment. Oh my God, he's actually a real person with real disadvantages. And then either they stabilize somewhere in between the disappointment and the euphoria, somewhere in the middle, or they fall apart. Now, our goal is for you to be there as a friend, and when the disappointment peaks, become that choice, right? Between that new relationship that didn't really work and that old relationship. And the good thing about that is because since some time passed and she forgot all the things, well, at least emotionally, they're not that important to her anymore, that drove you apart. Her and you drove apart. So she will be more open to you because it's easier to idealize a situation which is far away, right? If you're just writing to her and you just see kids, it will be easier for her to idealize than idealizing the situation in which she is now with her current man, husband or boyfriend. So those are the issues. Also, another issue that you probably need to know, this idea, what if she marries him, that's the end. No, that's not the end. If you already were husband and wife, you know that you've been divorced and now she will remarry. Every next marriage has a higher chance of divorce. So let's say if you're from most countries in the world, the chances of your marriage ending in divorce was around 50%. That's unfortunately the numbers in most continents, in most countries. Now, maybe in your country is different, but in general, that is the case. Now, the next marriage is around 75% in divorce. So getting her divorced again is easier than getting divorced the first time. So you can then build a relationship with her. It's not a problem. Don't think that this stamp and the passport means anything. So, in a sense, the things I just told you about is the things you need to look out for, specifically in a situation where she's with another man. But please remember that the main course that you are following and other courses which are also probably included or you have purchased before are also very strong, and everything which is in there works. Please remember that time is your friend. If you rush things, she will put on defenses, because if you do things fast, her head notices. If you do things slowly, her body notices things slowly, right? So, and the head doesn't notice, because she put in her head right now that you're her past, he's your, and he is her present and future. But when things start falling apart between them, you can become her future and then become her present. So this is the goal that we have. And this course, it's important that you watched it now, but I also want you to rewatch it a few times, because those things will come up. And when one of those things comes up that we just mentioned, watch that part and you'll know what to do. Do not despair. It is a tougher situation, but it's a possible situation. You can get her back. Do not fear him, because if he shows himself as an aggressor and a bastard, he will look bad in her eyes, and that's a good thing. 3, keep confidence, because if you do the things that we talk about in different courses about her, making her fall in love with you, using the right techniques, you have advantage over him. Yes, he has advantage because he presents a new relationship that she is now happy to explore. But he will make all the mistakes that you probably did and some of his own mistakes. You will be under my strict guidance, so it's different. Please remember that this course also allows you sorry, also allows you to ask questions. And you can ask me those questions, and I will be helping you individually. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and see you on other courses. Good luck with getting her back. It is absolutely possible. I believe in you.